You know, that's true in your life. It's true in my life. It's true in everyone's life. If you don't move into action, nothing happens. You can be doing work that you consider really very important work. But if it's preparatory, it isn't going to get you the results. Now, I know when you do move into action, it's the preparation that will make the difference, but you've got to move into action. You'll often hear people say, I'm going to try and do that. If you're sitting down, I would like you to try and stand up. You see, you can't stand up or try and stand up. You're either going to stand up or you're not going to stand up. Well, you're either going to move into action on your ideas or you're not going to move into action. Now, you can puddle around, you can write about it, you can talk about it. Until you move into action, nothing happens. Now, I want you to think about that. We consciously think of ideas. We get emotionally involved in ideas. It's when we internalize the idea that the entire body moves into a new vibration and begins to move into action. And that's when things start to happen.
Woo! Good morning, dreamers. How are we feeling coming into today? Another blessed and grateful day. As always, 11:11, paint your vision. Life is always happening for us and not to us. So every day is a blessing. Every day, there's always silver lining to go ahead and find the greatness within. So, JoJo in the building. Cedric, it's good to see you. Right on time. You already know. Let's go. How's everybody feeling coming into today? Today, we're going to be diving into the topic of the science of getting rich, right? Those of you who have never heard or seen this book, this comes from Waddles D. Waddles, something that our mentors brings up all the time. And there's a reason why, right? Because they say success leaves clues unless we're clueless. So a great topic. But before we go ahead and dive in, as always, what is everybody grateful for coming in today? So many amazing things. JoJo about to smack 600 sales, coming for the #1 spot inside of the company as far as e-com goes. So many amazing things. Cedric manifesting jobs. Let me know down below. Boom, IG, we are live. Here we go. Awesome. Let's go. So thankful to be alive. So grateful for God. So grateful, so blessed to be able to be on here each and every single day with you all, watching the growth inside of the group chats, right? I don't know if you guys have seen, I'm about to drop it in the chat. The momentum that is happening inside of this company right here, right now is absolutely unbelievable, right? I'm talking about ranks are popping, ka-chings, individuals are traveling, making impact, right? Our mentors are on the PALS tour, right? Prosperity, alignment, loyalty, right? So many amazing things are going down right now. It's incredible to see. So let's go ahead and get into it. Cedric, 7 trades consecutive take profit. I love it. The work is paying off. Good to see it. Serena, it's good to see you. Great morning, Queen. Let me go ahead and get on the Wi-Fi over here. Awesome. So let's get into it. So today, fam, we're going to be talking about the science of getting rich. And this is such a big topic. I heard this over and over again. And for the longest time, it never really made sense to me. It never really clicked until I started to really get intentional with this information. Okay. So we had a meditation, right, this morning. And the first thing we talked about was the frontal lobe. And I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of the brain so you can understand why it is the way we think, why it is the way that most of us operate, and how we can go ahead and channel these emotions, channel this energy, okay? So first things first, number 1, the first part of the brain to understand is called the frontal lobe. And all of this has to do with success, I promise you. So stick with me through this next 2 minutes, okay? The frontal lobe right here, think about it. When something happens in life, how many of us go like this? Think about it right now. How many of us rub our forehead during certain scenarios? Well, there's a reason why we do this. It's called neuroencoding. See, whenever we're touching the frontal lobe, the front part of our brain, this is what allows us to focus. The frontal lobe allows us to go ahead and vent, to go ahead and create intention, or to go ahead and cause a lot of tension inside, to be able to speculate new possibilities. It can even be a creative center. So when you realize anytime that we're angry, anytime that we're frustrated, none of these trades are working out, none of these products are working out in my favor, the frontal lobe, this is the part of the brain that gets frustrated, that gets all of this negative self-talk starting to stir up. So this is the first piece, okay? Here's number two, the visual cortex, okay? The visual cortex is essentially, it's in the back. This is where we process our sight. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but every time that we learn, we're literally forging new connections, new synapse connections inside of our brain. So every time that we go and we get on a go live, every time that we go in and we ask a question, we get an answer. We're creating more connections inside of our brain. And the more that we go over it, the more that we remind ourselves, guess what we're doing? We're literally strengthening those connections. How many of you know something that at first, like even Cedric just got a new job. At the beginning, you might not know how to do everything because you haven't connected those connections yet, right? But after 2 weeks in, you're going to be able to do pretty much any activity inside of there with your eyes closed because you've strengthened those connections. Well, the same thing happens with any skill set that we're looking to learn. This is exactly what happens whenever we're learning something new, whenever we're continuously growing or beating on our craft day in and day out, okay? The next part of the brain is called the chameleon part of the brain, okay? The chameleon part of the brain, they talk about what essentially this does. This is where our chemicals create feelings and emotions inside of our body. All of us can sit right now and we can think specific intentional thoughts and we can feel unlimited. We can feel free. I'll give you a perfect example. You ready? Tomorrow is my mother's birthday, right? So for the longest time, for the past 20 years, I went through so many trials and tribulations. And tomorrow is finally her 60th birthday. I just turned 30. She just turned 60. So it's beautiful timing. And I plan to do something very special, something to go ahead and knock off her bucket list, maybe somewhere on a beach, maybe somewhere that beautiful view. She hasn't been able to see something like this in over 20 plus years, maybe ever. So to be able to check this off the bucket list, this makes me feel so free to be able to see her smile, and I just got her teeth fixed within the last month. Two of the biggest things about to check off my bucket list. So these thoughts, this is part of my drive. This is what makes me feel free and alive. And this is right here in the chameleon part of the brain. You see, thoughts create emotions. Emotions can lead to actions. Those actions can lead to results. So I can go back and I can think of specific times on my journey where I really got in mode, right? Drop a 3 down below if you've ever been in flow state. If things have just been rolling and working out in your favor, things are just working out smooth. We're putting in the time and things are just coming back magnetically. Drop a 3 down below if you know what that feels like. This is called getting into flow state. And one of the easiest ways to go ahead and get into flow state is right here inside of the Science of Getting Rich, Waddles de Waddles. So how do we start to go ahead and change the way we think? By changing the way that, number one, that we see things, but by realistically stripping everything that we're normally used to doing. I stripped away listening to music all the time. I stripped away looking at a lot of things that were bringing me negativity, right? When I was scrolling on my timeline, negativity, it's got to go. Political, got to go. What's going on in the news? I don't have time to see it, right? At the end of the day, there's been a lot of craziness going on in the news. This is not new since yesterday. This is not new since last month. It's not new since last year. There's craziness on the news every single day. And I know now more than ever, the people that are getting their thoughts that are most dominantly dominated by negativity, political influence, the news, what's going on right now, guess what that's going to create? That's going to create low vibration emotions. And guess what type of actions and results most of these individuals are going to experience? We can already guess it and kind of get an idea of where this is going. How do I know? Because I've been there. I know what it's like to be literally succumb by fear, by negative self-talk, by all of these doubts, by listening to so much of the outer world for so long that we haven't had time to go ahead and listen to our own thoughts. I know exactly what that feels like. So even now during the season, even myself, I'm getting very intentional coming into this next 90 days because I know how important it is to go ahead and protect this gate right here, the gate of our mind, because this is very crucial, okay? So this is the 3 parts of the brain that allowed me to really start seeing things in a different light. The limbic brain, you ready? So essentially, literally what we just went over is the limbic brain that manufactures chemicals. It's the automatic nervous system, okay? And to go ahead and to give you guys a piece right here, the cerebellum. The cerebellum creates memories. We don't have to think about it, right? We are who it is that we've adopted the identity of. Because the truth is, all of us think the same 80% of thoughts most of the time as the day before. So if the day before was limiting, if the day before was living in lack, if the day before was living in fear, unless we change what it is that we saw, what it is that we heard, what it is that we thought, we're probably going to perpetuate and experience those same emotions over and over again. And I know this very well as well, right? A lot of my family dealt with severe depression for a lot of my life. So I saw this for years. And going back to Waddle's D. Waddle, Science of Getting Rich, how do we go ahead and really get back into the feeling? How do we get back into flow state? It goes back to gratitude. One of the biggest chapters inside of this book, chapters 7, 14, and 21, deeply get into the power of gratitude. This is why every day we always talk about what are we grateful for. It's not just something to get up here and do, not just something to just get up and say, oh, we did it. We dropped our gratitude down today. No, the point is to go ahead and say it, but not just say it, to be able to feel it, embody it, soak it in, because this is part of where the mental talk really comes in. If we can change the way we think, we can change the way we feel. If we can change the way we feel, we can change the actions that we take. We change the actions, now we can start to get results flowing in. This is why they say success is not a mystery. Success is literally down to a science. How many of us know that we can be doing all of the work, but if we're not feeling right, if we're not vibrating high, the results can easily follow a reflection of how it is that we're feeling, right? Perfect example. How many of you, drop a 5 down below, if you've ever lost your keys? If you've ever lost your keys, right? If you've ever lost these, and in your mind, as you're looking around, you're searching the house, you're flipping over everything, in your mind, you're like, man, I've looked everywhere. I'm never going to find these, right? And you're getting so mad, you're getting so frustrated, and you start searching the same spots that you checked already 1,000 times already. But how many of you have ever had that experience where you say, you know what? I'm going to find it. I don't know where it is, but it could be right around the corner. I might check the next spot and it's going to just pop up somewhere. And we end up finding it. Isn't that funny how that works? This is literally going back to the science. If we're what we think about, we bring about. And I've had this situation happen where something negative happened and I kept thinking about, oh, more negative things are going to pour into my life. What else could happen next? What do you know? Boom, I get smacked over the head with something else negative. Why? Because what we focus on grows. So even still, till this day, right now, as I'm speaking on this call, these are things that I'm practicing even myself daily. Because I don't care who you are, I don't care what level anybody's at, this is a practice that never ends. This road of unpersonal development, it never ends. We're always still growing. We're always still reading. Even right here. This is a book that I've read literally hundreds of times. And I'm still going back, diving into these chapters, learning something new, because the truth is, success is not a mystery. It's all written right here. Here's 12 laws of success right here. The law of desire, the law of energy mutation, the law of understanding. We all have 6 fears. The law of understanding auto-suggestion. What I just went over, what I just talked about, was not theory. This was not something that I made up. This is straight from Napoleon Hill. You guys can go in this chapter, in chapter 4, and you can go and see that 80% of the thoughts that we think are from yesterday. And you know what's crazy? Inside of right here, he says, read this entire chapter every single day, one time, until you've truly ingrained this in your mind. I've went on sprints where I've literally went back every single day to go back and read chapter 4, the auto-suggestion, because I know how easy it is for the mind to slip into what's going wrong, what's not going well in our life, how many problems we have. And guess what? This just perpetuates more negativity inside of our life. Been there many times, and this is how I started to go ahead and get out of the cycle, right? Because I started to see success is not a mystery. Success is down to a science. Okay? So I love it. Such a powerful topic for today. The last thing I want to go ahead and get into as we go and end this thing off, and this was such a great explanation. 90% of us, we're in the same category as our parents. And if you really think about how true that is, look around. Look at our friends. Look online. How many of us know some of our friends, right, that are maybe that maybe have the same habitual habits, the same habitual lifestyle as their parents. They like the same foods, they like the same places. And as they get older, they make around the similar type of income. Why? Because we are so used to what it is that we grow up with subconsciously that it ends up getting ingrained for most of us throughout almost our entire life. How many of us like the same football team as our parents? Right? Do you think that's a quinky dink? No, because this is how we were brought up. And the problem with this is, for most of the time, how many of your parents ever said, "Don't embarrass me out in public"? Mentor slapped us with it this morning. This was a light bulb for me. Don't embarrass me out in public. Yo, my family used to always say this to me. I was such a little rascal. I was a little Tarzan, always making a mess, always playing with things. Don't embarrass me out in public. You know what happens? If we go out and create success, do you know, for most of the time, they'll become embarrassed. So they don't want us to truly, truly become successful most of the time, coming from a limited background, coming from old thinking. This is just the truth. It is what it is. Even still to this day, they still think I'm talking crazy. They still cannot comprehend literally the dreams and aspirations and the visions that I speak till this day, October 11th. I'm speaking from experience right now. I'm literally experiencing it as I speak to you. They still don't get it. And that's okay. They're not meant to get it. This is why we have our own set of eyes, our own vision for a reason. Not everybody's meant to see what we see. There's beauty in that. So the goal here is what do we do from here? What do we do? What do we do with this upbringing? What do we do being brought up like this? What do we do with the type of person who says, well, you don't know what my life is like because I come from this background, because I'm Asian, because I'm from this culture, because I'm this old. My mentor says it all the time. He says, I don't care where you're from. I don't care what your background is. The truth of the matter is, we all have our own identity. I'm from Philly. I could easily give myself the excuse, I'm from Philly. I'm from the slums. People don't make more than a couple $100 a month where I'm from. There's shootings, there's killings, whole lot of negativity. I'm supposed to be a statistic. My mother's an alcoholic my entire life. Dealt with it till now. I don't know if you've ever seen the meme, but there's a meme that has somebody with 2 children. It's 2 guys that's sitting at a park. One guy is a complete mess. His clothes are ripped. He smells. He hasn't showered in months, right? He's got one shoe on. He's got a sock that's ripped off. And then you have the other guy that's sitting right next to him on the bench, and he's dressed very clean. He's in a suit. He's pristine. He's sharp. And the quote above it says, you know what the interesting part is? We both had the same father, but we both made completely different decisions, and we both have a completely different identity for ourselves. You see, the guy, drop it down below. What is the guy that's dressed like a mess, that looks like a mess? What do you think his internal thoughts are? What do you think the self-talk that he's saying about his upbringing of his life? Did he make excuses as to why that made him into the person that he can't go out and achieve greatness? He can't go out and become something because his parents were maybe nothing special to him? But then you have the other guy that used his situation, and it didn't let him cripple him. In fact, it actually poured fuel on his fire. That's what made him stay up late. That's what made him wake up early. That's what made him willing to do what most people are not, to live a life today like most can't. When everybody quit, he kept going. When nobody believed, he kept going. That's the difference. Being able to turn pain into passion, pain into fuel. And this is one of my favorite memes because I'm living through that. I know exactly what that's like. This is why for a lot that are going through different problems like depression, anxiety, I know what almost any of these feel like. I've been there. So remember, part of what unqualifies us qualifies us to go ahead and do what it is that we do. Some of the problems that we have, some of the issues that we've gone through, that we've grown through, that is now your testimony to be able to help the next person, give them a helping hand to go ahead and bring somebody up. This is what life is about. Life is about helping people. Life is about giving back. Life is about being able to be of service. I truly believe that. This is why I'm still going. I just dropped a post in the chat this morning. 5 years ago inside of an event, literally in a tiny little apartment with a couple people showing up. Nobody believed me. Everybody said I was talking crazy. Years later, we're still doing the same thing. Why? Because of right here. Being able to change the identity, be able to realize we're built for a lot more than just clocking into a job and paying bills. Each one of us, I believe, are absolutely destined for greatness. Everybody on here, you are without a doubt a champion. Drop a 5 down below if you know you're a champion, if you know you're destined for greatness, if you know you are the one to break the chains of poverty, of generational curses in your family, of limited thinking, of limited beliefs. Because this is where it all begins, with the belief. So dreamers, with that being said, that's my training for everybody today. And to go ahead and wrap it up, here's my question. Here's my QLQ for you. You ready? Lady Boss Nikki heard this morning. I know this one hit like a brick. You ready? QLQ. Who do we become when we reach our biggest dream that we have now? What changes in our language? What changes in our action? What changes in our belief? I got goosebumps talking about it because this one smacked me across the face because I really start to dig deep with this. Let me ask that again. QLQ. Who do we become when we reach the biggest dreams that we have right now? What changes? What actions? How do we move? What type of gratitude? What type of love do we show? There's no time to be lazy. There's no time to waste. Every day is of the essence. Right now, I'm about to go get off this call. I'm about to go book this spot for my mom to go check off somewhere for the bucket list. Why? Because I know time is limited. The 60th birthday is tomorrow on the 12th of October. I know how fast time moves. And I'm going to give you something scary, right? In her mind, her father passed at 62 years old. So she's always had this perception that she only has until 62 years old to be able to live. Why? Because that is the identity that she's created for herself. So I've been doing everything day in and day out, getting her a gratitude journal, getting her the books, listening to audios to be able to go ahead and shatter that old identity. It's not needed. That old identity is nothing but things that people have tried to put an armor on us that doesn't really fit. That's not really real. And when we step into our truth, when we step into love, when we step into who we really are, that armor is going to shatter off. We're going to be able to truly shine. So as I'm here with each and every one of you, I'm shattering this armor off myself. I still have armor on me that's put on from other people, other negative beliefs that I'm working on getting off myself. And I know we are all just getting started. And we're setting up for 2024 right here, right now, drawing the line in the sand, saying enough is enough. We're ready to go ahead and truly see what it is that this potential is ready to go ahead and give out to the world. So dreamers, if nobody told you today, let me be the first to tell you. I'm proud of you. I'm grateful for you. I'm so blessed to be on this journey with each and every single one of you, to see the steps, to see each and every one of you grow, because this is a collective experience. Synergy, teamwork creates the dream work. Let's go out and turn these dreams into reality. Remember, we can be, do, and have anything we can hold in our mind. We can hold it right here in our hand. Let's go out and have an abundant day, phenomenal rest of the week. Let's get to work. We got family to retire. Let's get to it, fam.